sometimes need to separate some constituent from its mixture. Various methods are used to separate substances from their mixtures. We often eat snacks like bhel or chivra. We drink beverages like tea and nimbu pani. Chivra, bhel, tea, nimbu pani are made by mixing together a number of substances. We get nimbu pani by mixing together water, sugar, salt and lemon juice. Nimbu pani is a mixture. The air around us is a mixture of a number of gases. Soda water is also a mixture. It means that if any of the substances, whether solid, liquid or gaseous, are mixed together, we get a mixture. Look at the pictures. You will see that in each picture, some substances are being separated. Tea leaves are being separated from the tea using a strainer. Yogurt is being churned to separate the butter from it. We pick out pieces of chilies from a dish of pohe if we do not like them. From chivra, some people pick up only the peanuts first. In many such actions, we separate substances from their mixtures according to our need or convenience. Methods of separating substances. How will we separate sand and salt from their mixture? Try this. To a mixture of 2 spoons of sand and 2 spoons of salt, add half a cup of water. Salt will dissolve in the water. The water can be strained to remove the sand. What must be done now to separate the salt from the water? You have learnt about evaporation. Keep the salt solution in a dish and place it in the sun. The water will evaporate, leaving behind the salt. What other method can be used for separating the salt? Threshing. When the wheat, jowar, in the field is ripe, it is harvested. After harvesting, it is threshed to separate the grain from the ears. Winnowing. The threshed grain contains a lot of chaff. The grain is therefore winnowed. In winnowing, the lighter chaff gets blown away in a current of air and the heavier grain is collected separately. This grain may be further cleaned at home. Sifting. We sift wheat, jowar, rice, semolina or refined flour by putting it through a sieve and removing unwanted things from it. Picking. You know that we also pick out small stones from rice, dals, wheat, jowar, etc. before using them. Settling. Try this. Take a glassful of water. Add some dry soil to it. Stir the water and then let it stand. Observe the water from time to time. First, the grains of soil collect at the bottom of the glass. This process of soil particles collecting at the bottom is called settling. When the soil particles are all settled, the clear water above can be poured out or decanted into another glass. If you look carefully, you will see some very fine particles and other lighter debris floating in the water. It means that it may not be possible to remove all insoluble substances from a liquid by settling and decantation. Filtration. Filter paper is used in a laboratory for separating substances by straining or filtration. Use filter paper for this experiment. Try this. Fold a circular piece of filter paper as shown in the figure. Then open it out, taking 3 layers of the paper on one side and one on the other. It will thus form a cone. Fit this cone into a funnel and moisten it with water. Arrange the funnel on a glass as shown. Pour half the water from the other glass slowly and carefully into the funnel. Observe the water collected after passing through the funnel. Compare the water in the 2 glasses. Which one is cleaner? The water that is passed through the filter paper is cleaner. The solid insoluble impurities in a liquid are held back on the filter paper, and what passes through is clear liquid. The liquid collected after filtration is called the filtrate. Try this. During the monsoons, why do we swirl an alum crystal through water meant for drinking? Swirl an alum crystal in muddy water yourself and make a note of what you observe. Try this. In the rains, tap water is sometimes muddy. How will you obtain clean water from it? Take an earthenware pot. Make a small hole in its base. Put a layer of fine sand in the pot as shown in the figure. Over this, put a layer of crushed charcoal. On top of this, put a layer of coarse sand. Fill the pot with the muddy water. Place a beaker under the pot to collect the filtered water. Observe the color of the filtered water. Some more methods of separating solids from their mixtures. Sublimation. Ordinarily, when a solid is heated, it gets converted first into a liquid and then into a gas. However, when some solids are heated, they change straight into a gas and not into a liquid first. This is called sublimation. The sublimation method is used to separate sublimating substances from their mixtures. Iodine, salt ammoniac, camphor, naphthalene are substances that sublimate. Try this. In a porcelain bowl, take a mixture of sal ammoniac powder and sand. Plug the tube of a funnel with cotton wool and place it upside down over the mixture. Arrange the apparatus as shown in the figure. Slowly heat the mixture. After some time, you will see particles of sal ammoniac deposited on the inside of the funnel and on the cotton wool plug. Heating caused the sal ammoniac to sublimate and rise into the funnel. When it cools, it changes back into a solid and gets deposited on the cotton plug. If we continue to heat the mixture, all the sal ammoniac will sublimate and separate from the mixture. Using the magnetic property. You have learned how magnetism can be used to separate magnetic and non-magnetic substances from a mixture. Iron, cobalt, and nickel are magnetic substances. Milk powder. You may have seen the milk powder we get in shops. We can obtain milk from the powder by adding the right amount of water to it. This is very useful where fresh milk is not available daily. How is this powder obtained from milk? First, milk is made free of impurities and standardized. It is then heated to remove all water from it. The heat required for this is more than that required to kill the germs in it. Therefore, in this heat, all disease-producing and other dangerous microorganisms are destroyed. The powder is then stored in airtight containers. Thus, it remains in good condition for a long time. Rich cream yogurt is churned to obtain butter. Churning causes the butter and buttermilk to get separated. As butter is light, it begins to float on the buttermilk. Then it can be taken out easily. It is the churning that helps to bring about this process. You may have read banners saying blood donation camp or donate blood, etc. Why are these appeals made? Sometimes a patient needs to be given blood during medical treatment. To meet this need, blood banks collect and store blood. Sometimes a patient needs only a certain component of blood. Modern blood banks have facilities to separate its various constituents and store them separately. Thus, specific components of blood can be supplied to patients according to their needs. The centrifuge is a device used to separate some of the components of blood.